This is the Nomad Futurist Podcast, a podcast about the evolution of technology, society, and transformation. Connect with us, share your thoughts with us at nomadfuturist.com. Let's get this started.
Hello and welcome to Nomad Futurist. This is your host, Nabeel Mahmood, with a special episode of Nomad Futurist in the Limelight. I've got Indigo Pinto. She is a program director and also a Nomad Futurist Ambassador. So Indigo, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. Lovely to have you. Before we get started, could you tell our audience a little bit about yourself at a very high level, who you are?
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Indigo Pinto. As Nabeel hinted earlier, I am one of the Futurist Ambassadors for Nomad Futurist. I'm also serving on the committee chair for our Quality Assurance and Audience Committee. A little bit about me. I'm currently a Program Director for BVPI, who is one of the largest and oldest commissioning institutes in the world. I call myself the anti-program director because I don't officially have programs that I have underneath me, but they are emerging. So we are the emergers.
I love that. It's so much like Comic-Con. you put that there,
Yes.
right? Yeah, that's amazing. So why do you call yourselves the emergers versus a conventional program director?
Well, since they're not official hyperscale clients, but they have potential to be, there is longevity in these clients and in the projects that we have. So they are currently emerging. As soon as we gain some more longstanding track record with them, I'm sure they will have the legs to stand. And that is what my job is, to help give them the legs and give the support to our project managers as needed.
All right. So let's step back a bit. I've known you roughly about 9 months to a year now. You were introduced by one of the associates that used to work for me back in the day. And I'm not necessarily trying to age myself out over here. How did you get involved in the sector? And just for our audience, Indigo is a very well-studied individual. She's got a Bachelor in Science Mechanical Engineering from Georgia Southern University, as
Go
well
Eagles.
as a Master's of Business Administration from Purdue.
Roll
So,
up.
oh my gosh, that is commitment. All right. So how did you, for starters, end up picking up mechanical engineering as a trade of choice for somebody that's young enough? I'm just always very curious, like, why do people pick what they end up picking?
Sure. So growing up, my father was involved in the auto industry. He worked at Goodyear and several car mechanics shops alike. So I spent a lot of time in the garage underneath him. I grew a fascination for cars and anything fast, honestly, on my own. And I later found in several STEM summer camps. One of my favorites was Sally Ride Foundation. Thanks, Mom, for finding that for me. But it turned me on to actually finding the field of engineering. You know, I thought it was just, hey, I like to tinker with stuff. I like to build things. So, like, but there's actually a field for that. I'm like, really? And that's how I found engineering. And then I further tuned that into mechanical engineering due to my love of engines.
Well, I mean, based on that, should we have working for like NASCAR, Formula One, or Indy, or something around those lines? How did you
You
end up in
know,
data centers?
that's the $1 million question because both of my call-outs were in the auto mechanic structure. They were all both in that field. One was at Chrysler, one was at Harley Davidson. So you would have thought I'm a shoo-in to go into the automotive industry. But I figured that I wanted to keep it as my passion, and God forbid I lose sight of that. So I was like, I keep it as my passion project. So Pretty Little Mechanics. If you ever need your car done, that's my plug for that. I would say that I appreciate the industrial side of it all because I guess you could say back to the longevity of it all. I could go back to a building and be like, hey, I'm keeping this place cool. That's my work. How did I get to data centers? Well, I really could say I trip and fell into data centers. My professional career was in construction and later into healthcare, facilities management. I actually got a call from a recruiter that said, hey, your skill sets would be perfect for our industry at Constructive. And honestly thought that I wasn't smart enough to be in data centers. I always thought it was just a big white building with no windows and who knows what goes on in there. It's like the world of Oz. And they're like, me? I could do this. They're like, yes, no, you're a mechanical engineer. We need people to know how to keep things cool. We need HVAC MEP expertise. I'm like, all right, let's give it a go. And I'm honestly loving it ever since. It's a ever evolving industry, and I'm glad I got to be here somewhat near the beginning. An emerger.
There you go. Yeah, I love it. So it's kind of interesting that we have talked about it plentiful times, and I see I'm a big advocate of the fact that 99% of people still today have fallen into our sector purely by an accident. We are the fastest growing sector with the most opportunities. We're the backbone of everything, every business from larger global enterprise to mom and pop shop. No matter where you're at, you're going to be connected in some way, form, or shape. And eventually there's going to be this internet bubble that everything and everyone's going to be connected. And I love what you just said, that this is still the beginning. We don't know what tomorrow holds, but we're heading in that direction, that there's going to be a lot of innovation. So somebody with a mechanical engineering degree and somebody not even from the sector, how do you feel thus far? I mean, and where I'm heading with that is like, where you welcome to the space? Are you getting what you need? How are you enjoying the space? Are you learning new things daily, regularly, monthly, whatever the cadence might be? What gets you going? What's so exciting about this sector versus other things that you've done prior to coming into the space?
Just like we said, it ends up forever growing institute, and I'm a lifelong learner. Every day I have learned something new. Either it is about the industry itself, about me and my career, how to develop myself as a leader, how to effectively communicate. Every day I've learned something new. So that kind of excites me. And I can share that excitement hopefully with the next generation of some of the roadblocks, pitfalls, trip and stumbles that I've faced, definitely. And say like, "Hey, here you go. Wait, when you see this, this is what this actually means." And that's kind of the thing that drives me with passion.
Tell me about your experience thus far with people. How has
Well,
that been thus far?
well, my experience with people has been pretty much the same throughout my career. I call it the curse of the baby face. A lot of people don't really a lot of people get a little shocked when they see that I am the person behind the emails. I actually started developing the hashtag that I shared with a few ladies before. I am Mr. Pinto. I will admit that unfortunately, often enough, people assume that I'm a male in the certain roles that I hold. So I developed the hashtag of I am Mr. Pinto. I am that person that you think I am. So this is the respect that is due to me because that's what you respected me in my email. Now respect me in person.
Brilliant. Well, I was hoping that we could get an answer around how are the people in the technology sector versus other
Oh,
places that you've been in.
yeah, yeah. That's where it's also getting to. That was the beginning. And now here it's really refreshing. I would say that people are very much open and welcome to new ideas. And I appreciated that the most about this industry.
Brilliant. So since you've been on board with Nomad Futures as an ambassador, I see that you've joined us and you're leading the QA QC committee chair. Could you speak to bit?
Sure. So my job is to provide a preliminary audience review of our curriculums that we're developing in the Nomad Futurist of our modules, if you will. I usually try to get the most diverse group to be our soundboard, if you will. I have everyone from as young as my 4-year-old godson to my next door neighbors and everyone in between. And all of them don't really have a full idea of what we do in data centers. So I feel like they are like a prime audience for us. And they give me their unfiltered feedback. And I find it really refreshing in seeing how interested they are. In fact, my godson the other day just asked me, when is the next sound? When do we have our next meeting? So he's really interested. And I'm glad that we're seeing the young minds becoming interested in our industry.
Very good. Well, yeah, getting that real feedback from the field, people that are going to be using the modules and the academy is imperative for success and for learning. How do they learn, right? I mean, the way we grew up, the way we were taught is a lot different than how things are today. I was, as a matter of fact, on a call last night that we're in the fourth industrial revolution, yet we have not had a change in our educational system since the second industrial revolution. And the fifth industrial revolution is right around the corner. So it's time that we actually start changing how we educate the next generation with all the tools, resources, and just the approach. So tell us a little bit about where do you see some of the gaps as it entails to education and your thoughts on what we are trying to accomplish as Nomad Futurist.
I would say, as far as the gaps in education would be, I think it comes through certain resources that certain schools are allowed to have. And some teachers, I've had some amazing teachers in my past, and they help cultivate that interest in science and technology for me. And some teachers will read straight from the book, and they're being, I guess you could say, be educators, but not really teachers and cultivators to these minds. So they're not being interested. I feel like, especially with our curriculum, with us showing, hey, this is the actual impact of what's happening. You like Netflix? This is what we do. You know, you want to run your phones, your streaming, your TikToks, whatever. This is what causes that. And really tapping into that with them, I think it really will make them more interested. So I think if our education system would actually, I guess, hit it where it is, like hit it home or whatever, make it more relatable, I think you'll be having more lasting impact.
Well, that's the goal. That's what we're trying to accomplish and create this uniform language and uniform system globally. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this was Indigo Pinto, one of our rising stars. Indigo, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Any message, any takeaway, any words of wisdom for our listeners here and followers?
Yes, for the rest of us millennials out there, the future is here. The future is now. And we need to help cultivate these young minds. Even though we're the young bucks in this industry right now, the next generation is right behind us, and we need to help them out. So I figure, don't wait until you're well seasoned. You can help right now. That'd be my
That
lasting
is,
marks.
that is
Mhm.
amazing. Thank you again for being a part of the initiative and the foundation and taking the leadership role in driving content and curating content and making sure that we're addressing the gap in this sector. Indigo, you've got a bright future in front of you. Stay
Thank you, Nabeel.
connected and do what you feel is right. Thank you.
Thank you.
This has been great. Nothing lasts forever. Markets will come back, currencies will rebound, businesses will go on, and we will all move on. That could happen next week, next month, or next year. At Nomad Futures, we're confident that those who prepare rather than panic will come out of this stronger. Thank you for joining us. This has been brought to you by Nomad Futurist. Check us online at nomadfuturist.org, and thank you for listening and subscribing, as well as your continued support.